And here is the Writer's Almanac for Tuesday. It's the 9th of June, 2020. It's the birthday of George Axelrod, New York City, 1922. Wrote the screenplays for Breakfast at Tiffany's, The Manchurian Candidate, author of Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter. It's the birthday of Johnny Depp, Owensboro, Kentucky, 1963. It was on this day in 1909 that a woman named Alice Hyler Ramsey left New York City driving a car, a Maxwell 30, with 3 other women in it. She was 22 years old. She was a housewife from Hackensack, New Jersey. The other 3 women did not know how to drive. Alice Hyler Ramsey did, and she became the first woman to drive across the United States. Took her 41 days. They used 11 spare tires, and she wrote a book about it many years later. Came out in 1961, called Veil, Duster, and Tire Iron. It's the birthday of the man who wrote the lines, "The girls today in society go for classical poetry, so to win their hearts one must quote with ease Aeschylus and Euripides. But the poet of them all, who will start 'em simply raven, is the poet people call the Bard of Stratford-on-Avon. So brush up your Shakespeare, start quoting him now. Brush up your Shakespeare, and the women you will wow." And that man was Cole Porter, born in Peru, Indiana, in 1891. Went off to Yale University, got terrible grades, went to Europe, settled in Paris, lived there most of the 20s, and wrote his first big hit in 1928. Birds do it, bees do it, even educated fleas do it. Let's do it, let's fall in love. It's the birthday of the novelist Charles Webb, born San Francisco, 1939, who in 1963 came out with a novel, The Graduate, which was made into a movie in 1967. In fact, the dialogue in the film comes almost entirely from the novel. Charles Webb, who grew up the son of a wealthy doctor in Pasadena, wrote The Graduate in the poolside bar of the Pasadena Huntington Hotel, based loosely on his own experience. He was indeed attracted to the wife of a friend of his parents, who became the model for Mrs. Robinson, and he decided it might be better to write about it than to do it. When The Graduate was published, he was 24. And it was 1860 the first so-called dime novel was published, a novel by Anne S. Stevens entitled Malieska, the Indian Wife of the White Hunter. Like most dime novels, it was violent and lurid and could be read in a very short time. In 1872, Harriet Beecher Stowe wrote a letter to Louisa May Alcott complaining about the bad effects of dime novels and how wonderful Louisa May's books were by comparison. She did not know that Louisa May Alcott preferred writing potboilers, violent, lurid books, and thought that her own book, Little Women, was boring. Here's a poem for today by a poet of the mid-19th century, Sir Samuel Ferguson. Put your head, darling. Put your head, darling, 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 your darling black head, my heart above. O mouth of honey, with the thyme for fragrance, who with heart in breast could deny you love? Oh, many and many a young girl for me is pining, letting her locks of gold to the cold wind free, for me the foremost of our gay young fellows, but I'd leave 100 pure love for thee. Then put your head, darling, 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 your darling black head, my heart above. O mouth of honey, with the thyme for fragrance, who, with heart in breast, could deny you love? A poem by Sir Samuel Ferguson, Put Your Head, Darling. That's the Writer's Almanac for Tuesday, the 9th of June. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.